In 1984, Neil Fleisig was asked to take the directorship of one of the most difficult units at South Florida State Hospital for patients who were highly aggressive and self-injurious. He witnessed a patient who was very challenging during a crisis event, and the staff pinned him down on the cement, which resulted in several abrasions on his skin. The more tightly they held him, the harder he resisted and continued to scrape himself in the struggle. Finding this unacceptable, Mr. Fleisig took a safety mat from a nearby CPR training and insisted that the man be held on the mat and not the cement. Once restrained on the mat, the man calmed relatively quickly. It was at this point that Mr. Fleisig decided that there had to be a more humane way to stop people in crisis, and this watershed moment was the beginning of the development of the professional crisis management system that we see today. The most important takeaway point from this origin story is not Neil's use of the safety equipment, but why he insisted on using the safety equipment. He decided that even though they might be trying to harm themselves or others, these people still needed to be treated with dignity and respect. Mr. Fleisig believes, as we all do at PCMA, that especially when restraining an individual, it is our responsibility to make them as safe and comfortable as possible. This insistence on dignity and respect not only ends a crisis as quickly as possible, but also preserves the clinical or teaching relationship. The majority of PCM Association members do not have clients or students that require restrictive interventions to manage crisis behaviors and will not have a need for safety equipment. Nonetheless, the safety, dignity, and effectiveness that Mr. Fleisig insisted on translates to all PCM physical procedures as well as our non-physical strategies. But the story continues. As a behavior analyst and researcher at the university, Mr. Fleisig knew that the system could be made even better by bringing on other experts in behavior analysis. And this is when he brought Dr. Merrill Winston, a well-recognized behavior analyst, into the company. They both agreed that the system had to be very systematic. That is, everyone must use the same protocols across clients and staff so that everyone has predictable learning environments. Dr. Winston agreed with Mr. Fleisig that the program would need not only the use of behavior analysis in prevention and de-escalation, but also that the behavior analytic teaching techniques of shaping and fading would also need to be embedded into the physical procedures used during a crisis. Dr. Winston loved the use of these techniques because they resulted in clients and students quickly learning how to calm down. This meant shorter crises and less risk of injury for all involved. The last piece of the puzzle involved ensuring fidelity of implementation of the PCM system by embedding behavior analysis into the training procedures to build fluency. In addition, they knew that there must be an independent credentialing body to oversee crisis management certification in order to maintain the quality and integrity of the system. This is ultimately what guarantees humane, dignified, and effective teaching and treatment. The rest is history, as the first behaviorally based professional crisis management system was now built on behavior science from the ground up. This created a movement that has resulted in PCM being applied by hundreds of thousands of practitioners across the world who are now able to increase the safety of millions.